Hey, this is your recap Aunty Shar. Hey, y'all, happy Friday. And here we are back. We are here back for episode number 59 of Beyond the Gates. And we open up with that damn Leslie going through evil stuff, putting all that shit in her bag. Shampoo, lotion, all this stuff in this big old robe. And she knew she was wrong because she hid it in the bag before when the person knocked on the door. And of course, we knew it was Teddy Boo who was at the door. She told him, Teddy Boo, what took you so long? He's like, hey, I'm here for Eva. So he's like, where the fuck is Eva? And she's like, wouldn't you like to know? He's like, damn straight, because I'm the one that's paying for this room, and I ain't never approved for your ass to be here. And she says, and yet here I am, live and in living color. And she puts the bag on the desk full of, it looks like a fake Telfar bag. And she says, and there you are, my God, standing there looking like a sexy young thirst trap who swept me off my feet all those decades ago. Come here and give me, hey. He's like, look, heifer, don't remind me. She's like, oh, come here, Teddy Weddy. I mean, don't you remember, baby? We had some real good times together. Oh, remember like that one night? Remember when you couldn't wait to get back to my place? So we wanted it so bad, baby, we booked a room at the nearby hotel. You know what, honey? As I look around this room, it didn't look that much different than this place right here. He's like, look, bitch, I'm warning you. She's like, oh, Ted, don't you want to have some fun? She said, right? Come on. And she goes and plops her ass on the bed. He looking at her like, girl. Ooh, we get to the next scene with Vernon and Anita. And so she's standing there nose to nose, looking at him, fixing his tie. And he put his hands all around her waist. And she slaps his hands like, Vernon, baby, you better stop. Go ahead, Vernon, touch her again. Anita says, you acting like we back when we was at the Regal Theater. So Vernon was like, what's wrong? So you can put your hands all over me, but I can't do the same, baby. Anita trying to act all coy because the cameras is right there looking. She tells him like, I don't know what you're talking about, honey. She said, I was just simply straightening your tie. He was like, oh, come on now, baby. She's like, well, I can't let my man go out into this world looking any old kind of way now, can I? He said, a woman, you know what happens when you do that now. Go ahead, Vernon. She says, this. And she smacks a nice big one on them soft, sexy lips. Yes. He says he hate leaving her alone. Why the first part of this story today so sassy? Y'all agree? It was so sassy. Ooh. He was like, I don't want to leave you alone, baby. Are you sure you don't want me to stay? He's like, he sees Tracy in the background. So he was like, I can be a buffer between you two. What you mean by that, Vernon? So she was like, no, it was good that you were here. You know, when she first got here, you kind of helped ease the tension that was here. So she says, you know, you're needed elsewhere, you know, and I understand that. And she was like, surprisingly, Tracy and I have actually found our rhythm. I'm really surprised about that. So he grabs her hands and looks into her beautiful eyes and says, now, like, if you change your mind, honey, I'm only a phone call away, all right? And she gives him another kiss, and she's like, thank you, baby. So she comes back into the great room, and Tracy is there looking at the piano, and so they go over this memory about this real crappy piano that they used to practice on, and it was so lopsided that they had to put a phone book to help tilt it up a little bit. So Tracy is talking about how expensive that particular piano that they have at their house. She says, this one must have cost more than the entire building that we used to rehearse in. Ooh, Tracy, are you trying to hate on Anita's riches? And she's busy plucking the piano keys, and she looks at Anita. She was like, you sure as hell won the lottery, didn't you, Anita? Ooh. So the next scene, we are back at the hospital, and we see Nurse Shanice is at the nurse's station, and guess who pops up? Dougie. She was like, well, 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 look at who popped in, Mr. Houdini himself. Honey, you just walked in there and helped Wilkes with that surgery. Like you was just easy, like changing lanes on the highway, honey. Remember, he helped Wilkes with June's surgery. He walked in and walked out. She was like, you know what you doing, honey? So she was like, you was helping that patient even while your hand was still wrapped up in that cast. She's like, speaking of which, honey, look at God working fast around here. The cast is gone. Hallelujah. So he's happy that he's been going through some physical therapy, with the hand. So it's helped him, heal a little bit quicker. But he said he would be normally celebrating, but, he's been looking for his wife. She said she'd be there. Remember, Dougie, you know what Vanessa is. She already told you what she be doing when you at the hospital. Don't be tripping. So Shanice is like, girl, no, I ain't seen her. I ain't seen her. I'm sorry. And he looking all worried and concerned. And we're at Orphe Jean's, our favorite spot, and we see Vanessa and Joey Armstrong sitting down. And apparently they just came back from looking at some properties and together. She's the GOAT when it comes to real estate in Fairmont Crest. So that building that he wants to use in order for him to like start laundering through her business, well, they went to see the property owners, and it's a shitty piece of property, but he wants to offer more money. And she was like, no, this building has some legacy. Y'all need to fix this shit up. No, we're not spending all that money. He's not going to use his money to fix up this property. Y'all need to fix it so it can be up to the value that he's offering y'all. That's why I'm here. So I guess her speech was so good with the buyers. Joey says he even believed that shit. He was like, man, see, that's what I'm talking about right there. She said, well, maybe what I said was what I believe because I said what I said. He said, see that right there. I don't know if you're brilliant or dangerous. So Vanessa was like, well, why does it have to be one or the other? I could be both. So he was like, that's why I'm so taken with you. She's like, why, Joey Armstrong, did I feel like there's never been a boundary that you were never afraid to cross? You would think because she's a married woman that he wouldn't cross that boundary. So he was like, what you mean? It's like, after all the time that we spent together, a man like me can't admire the way you do your technique. You got it well, boo. Well, well, well. Look who we have here. We haven't seen Martin in a while on that red door. So he's coming home, and we see Smitty on the phone, working like he should have been doing. He's at home talking to the newsroom people about some stories that he's working on. And Martin was like, well, 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 look at here. Look at you. You doing like you're supposed to do. I'm so proud of you. So clearly, I think Miss Smitty is working on a story about internet groomers. You got these people who like to groom kids to get them to do things that they want them to do. So he's really, really digging deep into this groomers sector of the social media streets. And, groomers are out there. They'll give you the dream, give you the world. And then before you know it, your kid is on a corner somewhere in El Segundo selling God knows what to God knows who. Here's another sexy, steamy part. He's talking about how, Smitty is a very aggressive and, with these kids. And so these kids don't want to talk to him about the grooming because he can be a little pushy. Even their kids are like that towards them. And he was like, well, but I like that shit. Martin was like, I like it. That's that passionate side. That reporter voice that you got, baby. Don't you feel that against your groin? Yeah, that's what they do to me. Remember, I do that. Ooh, and Smitty says, funny thing, I remember doing quite a bit of that just this morning, and Martin wants some more. I ain't never seen Martin this loving with Smitty. Let me push play and see what else is going to happen. So, of course, Martin, Smitty was like, man, I want to do that, but, I got to work on this and that. And so Martin was like, okay. So now Smitty was like, well, we can go ahead and talk about something. I want to talk to you about this story. And so then Martin was like, well, too bad because I got some meetings that I got to get on Zoom, this infrastructure that I got to get with the senators. I got to work on it. So here comes Smitty. Wait a minute. As soon as I want to have a real conversation with your ass, instead of talking about fucking, now all of a sudden you swamped with all this business and phone calls and stuff. That ain't cool. That ain't cool, Martin. That ain't cool. So Martin was like, what do you want me to do, baby? And so Smitty was like, all I'm just asking is just for 10 minutes. And while they were about to talk, we hear a knock on the door. And it's fine ass Vernon coming up there. Granddad, hey, what's going on? Smitty was like, hey, Vernon, what brings you over? So he had actually came over there because he asked Samantha Samantha. He promised Samantha that he would help her with her history paper. Ain't that sweet? So we're back at the mansion with Anita and Tracy, and so they're nibbling on some victuals, and so Tracy was like, "Girl, remember when dinner was whatever we could scrape up between gigs?" And Anita was like, "Girl, that was a long time ago. Remember all those nights that we was in the hotel, sitting on the floor eating Chinese takeout?" And, and Tracy was like, "Yeah, fighting over that last egg roll. Yes, girl, I remember." So Tracy was like, "Cause you always won that last egg roll." And so Anita was like, "Not always." And Tracy gave her the look. She's like, "Okay, well, sometimes." Well, she was like, "Well, most of the time, yeah, I won." And Tracy was like, "Mm-hmm." So Tracy is hating, just looking all around the room. Must be nice having a whole staff handle everything for you. So Anita was like, "Girl, no, well, they don't handle everything. I mean, just some of the stuff that makes life more easier for Vernon and me." So Tracy was like, "Sounds like to me like a humble brag." So Tracy was like, "Girl, face it. You've come a long way for sharing that one bedroom apartment in Cabrini Green. So, Anita tries to kind of skip the subject, but at least acknowledges the fact that she says, "Life is good, and I count my blessings, honey, each and every day." So Anita was like, "Why do I feel like there's something more to this?" And so Tracy is like, I'm just noting and telling you how far you've come." She's like, we used to share everything, makeup, jewelry, dreams. And then next, and then Anita was like, "The next what, Tracy?" And Tracy was like, "Next you're here, honey. Living like black royalty." Ooh, Miss Anita ain't gonna let you talk to her like that in her house. So she was like, "Okay, let me make one thing clear." She adjusts her seat to make sure that she's facing Tracy face to face when she makes this next statement. "I have been blessed, but winning the lottery had nothing to do with it. I earned everything I have." Ooh, Tracy looks at her and is like, "Is that so?" Anita gets up real slowly, was like, "I don't think I like what you are implying, honey." Ooh, Tracy was like, "A hit dog will holler." Anita was like, "I'm not hollering. I'm just correcting your aim. Nobody gave me this life. I worked hard for every award, every gold record, every penny. And the harder I worked, the more my effort were rewarded." Honey, Tracy is looking up at her with her hands on her hips with that mouth real tight. It's like, "Girl, is that what you tell yourself?" All right, we're back at the hospital. And so Shanice is talking with one of the nurses next to her. "Shanice, aren't you the boss, girl? You can't be talking about people like that." She said, "Girl, I don't know if he's an actual employee here. But girl, he fine as fuck. That Andre Richardson, ooh, he can get it if he wanted, honey." So she tells the girl, like, "Okay, well, you got to hit that before you hit that." And she know how to split it. She know how to be ghetto and business. She know how to do that. She's like, "Well," she gets back to, she tells her what to do about in the computer. Then she goes back and talk about Andre. She's like, "Well, although he does have a bit of a rep of being a player. And I ain't got time for nobody's petty jealousy." She was like, "Which brings me to my next point. Jealousy," then she looks around, baby, like, make sure ain't nobody listening, "is a disease in this hospital. And honey, we have an outbreak." She just gossiping, honey. She says, "You should have seen Dr. Flannery's wife yesterday. And she brought him some lunch. And that new intern was all like, 'Dr. Flannery, I have a question about a patient.'" She was like, I'm like, "Girl, the only question you have is, what time is he getting off?" Literally and figuratively. So they laughing and having a good time, and sneaky ass Dougie comes up and like, "Shanice, I hope that you're staying on the right side of the HIPAA laws, girl." She says, "Yes, doctor." So he tells her his afternoon just cleared up, so he's going to get out of there early. Like, "What? You're not going to work? What?" So he's asked about Vanessa, and so Shanice was like, "No, I haven't seen her around. However, if you're still looking for company, honey, I'm sure Dr. Flannery and the new intern could use a chaperone." And he was like, look, I think I'll go find my wife. I'm good. Sometimes when they do the PA system names, I want to do those names ring a bell. The lady was like, Nurse Jackie, dial 390, something like that. It was too cute. Okay, back to Orphe Jeans. We show Vanessa and Joey having their talk. Ugh. So I guess they played some good cop, bad cop routine with the building sellers, and so she was like, "Look, that worked like a charm, honey. We make a good team." So he feeds her ego. He talks about how amazing she is. She's like a real estate savant. She's really good with people. You have them eating out of your hands because they were so good with these people. They were almost telling them to look here, just take the building. We'll pay you for taking this off our hands. That's how great she is. That's why she's a goat. Like I said earlier, Vanessa is the goat when it comes to real estate. So he's still feeding her ego again, and he grabs her hand, and he was like, of course, you got people eating right out of the palm of your hand. And he's like, I can't say I blame them, and he touches her hand. So we cut from that scene, and we go straight back to the hotel with Ted and Leslie sprawled all over the bed. And he was like, you know what, bitch, you are a sick person. He said, but then again, that's your specialty, ain't it? She's like, lighten up, Ted. You don't think that I would try to do you in our daughter's room, do you? And she trying to touch his jacket and, come on to him. She's like, ew. Or maybe you're the one that's sick and twisted because you even considered it. He's standing there looking at her like he's disgusted. He's like, says the woman who kicked out her own daughter, our daughter. She's like, out of my apartment, Ted, not out my life. She's like, look, Eva is my only child, Ted, and I love her with everything that I am. All right? A mother's love doesn't die, even when she has to make hard choices. He's like, nice sentiment, if I can even believe one word that's coming out of your mouth. And he said, we both know that feelings require having a heart. And we both know that you sold yours a long time ago, honey. She's like, oh, I get it. You have to make myself as the devil so you can sleep good at night and have your own indiscretions unpalatable. I'm not that, all right? I just simply came to check on my daughter and make sure that my pride and joy is well and happy. Now, isn't that what a good mother does? And he's like, is that right? I'm telling you, is that right is a black term. So he's looking at the bag on the desk. He's like, oh, well, look, your bag, baby. Your bag is looking mighty thick. I wonder what could be in there. Honey, he grabbed that bag, baby, and dumped all that shit out on the floor and on the desk, as he should. And she's like, yikes. She's like, well, I mean, grabbing a few souvenirs that I can take home with me is not bad. Would you like something? He's like, cut the shit, Dana. Well, he didn't say shit. Cut the crap, Dana. Be real for once in your life. He's like, but I'm thinking that you play so many damn parts, you don't even know which is real or not anymore. She tells him, I told your ass I came here to check on my baby. And that is what a good mama does. He's like, so now you're trying to be mother of the year. She's like, well, I'm doing my best. So then he asked her, then why the fuck are you telling Kat that Eva was the one that ran Laura off the road? Now, he's handling her. He has that soft side, but this Keith is really handling her. I can see him yoking her up against the wall. I really can. Good for you, Ted. Lord, Big Brother still comes on. Oh. Anyway, let me look back to the show. We're at Vernon. Vernon over is at Martin's and Smitty, and he's finally sitting down with Samantha to help her with her paper. So Vernon tells her about a story when he was part of a march when they did some protests for this particular department store, and they wouldn't let any colored people above the stock room. So he said, we showed up, baby. We was sharp. We had our suits pressed. Our shoes were shined. We looked so good, baby. They could not ignore us. See, that's what they used to do. Them women would wear skirts and hats and pearls to march. And all the kings back there will wear suits and Flo Shines and Stacey Adams. Was Stacey Adams? Yeah. 3-piece. They were hot though, but they were sharp. I think that what Martin is, maybe y'all could tell me, I missed it. Martin is trying to get the infrastructure for the, I guess, the unhoused situation there, and he's trying to get people to come on his side, but I think the mayor is against it. So the mayor is beating him to the point with all of his colleagues, and so he had like a bunch of Zoom meetings that day, and everybody keeps canceling. He's like, I've had so many canceled Zoom meetings today that it feels like it's dominoes on my ass. So, Vernon was like, well, sometimes the strategy you have to play is you got to make them follow your lead. You don't follow them. You got to think of something. He's like, Mark was like, look, I need to take a breather right now. Thank you, Granddaddy. I thought that they were doing good. Martin, since his schedule is free, Smitty was like, okay, so maybe we can still have that talk. We got a lot of ears around here at the house. Maybe we should go out and grab a bite for lunch. He was like, okay, let's do that. She's like, okay. So he says, well, maybe we should all go. Martin invites Vernon and Tyrell and Samantha, me, you, everybody. Let's go out to lunch. And so Smitty was like, that's not what I had in mind, nigga. And so he was like, you want to grab a lunch? And Vernon was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go eat some lunch, y'all. Come on, let's go. And so here Vernon's still talking about the sit-in at the 5 and dime. She was like, 5 cents? What in the world could you buy with 5 pennies? So Smitty, they walking out. Smitty's kind of behind them. He's like, I'm fucking pissed. I wanted to talk to him by myself. So we back at Orphe Jean's, and so Vanessa and Joey are touching hands, baby. They are touching hands. So he was like, did you see, Joy is like, did you see that man's face when I threw those numbers on him? And she was like, yeah, did you see the wife? And he was like, yeah, maybe you were smooth as silk. He's like, so when you're bad, I'm great. And when you're bad, you're better. She's like, you tell me. I mean, just going back and forth with flattery, honey. Making it seem like they are the perfect Batman and Robin or Catwoman Batman. Just making sure that they are the perfect dynamic duo. Come on in here, Dougie, so you can see them touching hands and holding hands. So when she said, you tell me whether it's bad or better, he said, yeah, bad is definitely better on you. And of course, like I said, Dougie comes in looking. But see, they had stopped holding hands. I thought they were going to still hold hands. Them biscuits is looking good on that table. Y'all just need some butter and some honey or some jelly. So Doug is there listening, and so Joy was like, I have to admit it, we really do make a damn good team. Better than I expected. And she says, maybe we do. And Dougie walks up and says, do you? Go ahead, Dougie. So he said, so y'all has started celebrating my recovery without me? So we're back at the hotel, and we see Leslie putting back all of the items in the bag, which they don't belong there, honey. Just put them on the desk. They don't belong in your bag. He's looking at her putting all this shit back in her bag, and she's like, what do you expect from me? What do you think of me, Ted? Do you think that I'm some trash and you could just throw me away and to the wayside? Is that what you think of me? Yes, you're trash. So she's still putting shit in the bag. She's like, well, I'm really not that bad. Well, not as bad as some people. So he's like, explain something to me right now. Why the fuck did you tell Kat that Eva committed that damn crime? She had an alibi. Ironclad. There's no way that Eva could have even ran that child off that road. This bitch said, hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Won't he do it? She's like, oh, baby, you know what that means, right? Oh, we don't have to worry because our daughter is innocent, right? She's like, crisis is solved. He's like, bitch, you still are not answering my fucking question. Then she said, okay. At first, I was worried that our daughter was going to be led astray into a life of a common criminal. This girl, when I tell you she thinks she's supposed to be on a theater stage, Nicole told her that. Then she says, well, at least now she can have some friends at that bougie ass hair salon that you bought her. Not bougie ass. Then he says, I didn't buy her a salon, Dana. I just rented her a chair. She's like, that's just a damn chair. Well, damn, I had that all wrong. Anyway, listen, it was still a good gesture and offer. But that's just a damn chair. Nigga, you got enough money to buy her the whole salon. She says, then it hit me. Ding. Ooh, a grand offer like that. Ooh, that guilt, honey, that guilt must have been eating you alive. He's like, you are really something, huh? You gaslight with the best of them. The queen of twisting and turning things around. But your ass is the only one that's guilty. All this dodging and weaving and bobbing and going left and right and all this other shit is making you look real suspicious. He's like, why point, what's the point? Why point the damn thing, point the finger at Eva when I said, what do you want to say? He's like, you know what? I always knew you were capable of damn near anything. I mean, look what you had to go through just to blow up my marriage in the most humiliating way possible. But now, I'm standing here looking at your ass. And I just don't wonder. I know. She's like, oh, Ted, don't leave me in suspense, baby. He said, you did that shit, didn't you? She's like, oh, I'm sorry. You have to be more specific. He said it. He said, you ran Laura off the road. And he was just shaking his head. All right, we are back at loud ass music in the background. Orphe Jeans. That was too loud. Whatever y'all was playing in the background, Orphe Jeans, that was too loud. That tambourine was loud. Anyway, Joey was like, oh, I see that you got your cast off. And so Dougie was like, yeah, quick healer, I guess. So Vanessa gets up so Dougie can sit beside her, I guess. So she was supposed to be there at the removal of the cast at the hospital. Remember, he kept asking Shanice, where's Vanessa? Where's Vanessa? She hadn't seen her. And so he was like, she says, oh, but baby, I'm so sorry. I must have missed the schedule. You know, I wanted to be there, but Joey and I had this meeting earlier. So his arrogant ass, Joey, well, it's not like I wanted to steal your wife or anything, but you know how that could go. Business is business. And then she has a nerve to invite her husband to join them. She tells Dougie, why don't you join us? Girl, that's your husband. You could. Girl. So now that he knows that she be fucking around with men, she gonna be like a free bird, honey. She gonna be whistling. She like, look, you know what it was. So don't even try. She gonna be real cocky. And at the end of all of this, she gonna be begging for Doug. Because Joey is going to fuck her up bad. Real bad. So she was like, we were just going over how well the meeting went today. He was like, Joey was like, yeah, that's a good idea. There's always room for one more player at the table. Right, Doc? Then he pulls a chair from one of the other tables when Dougie should have been sitting beside his wife. Then Doug was like, nah, I need to get back to the hospital. Then he looks at Vanessa and he was like, unlike some folks, my patients actually need my attention. She says, but you just got here. He was like, three's a crowd. And you two seem to be doing just fine without my ass. Then he looks at her, Joey looks at her and says, was there something I said? So Doug turns around and leaves. And so we see Vernon, Samantha, Martin, and Smitty come into Orphe Jeans, for that lunch, honey. Oh, when they walk in, Martin says, oh, what's good, Dr. McBride? And Dougie was like, not a damn thing. Oh. So they was like, I wonder what's happened with him. I don't know if it was Smitty or Martin who said that. And so Vernon was like, I bet you $1 that it has everything to do with that situation over there. So he points over there where Vanessa and Joey are sitting there having their lunch. And then Smitty was like, isn't that an interesting pair? And Vernon was like, Back at the hotel, we see, Ted coming to the realization. He said, you did that shit. You were the one driving that motorcycle that sideswiped Laura and caused her crash. That was you. He was like, you have lost your motherfucking mind. And she turns around and says, and you are making assumptions. He's like, look, I get coming after my ass. But that sweet little girl has nothing to do with this equation right here. And she says, I deny vehemently whatever you are implying. Go ahead, long words. He says, you're going to rot in hell for this, Dana. He was like, right after you've done spent 20 years behind bars. I'm like, okay, that was a Denzel Washington-esque type of feel. I felt Denzel right there in that little moment. Dana tells him, I ain't going no fucking where. And neither is your big fat mouth. That's a threat. And he's like, who's going to stop me? She said, I just have to hit you where you live. That's all. I mean, we both know how smart I am. She says, push me, and I will make sure that Eva catches even more hell than she's already facing. He was like, you send Eva to prison for something that your ass did. Ooh, he says, you do that to your own flesh and blood. And she gives a Nene Leakes quote, I said what I said. I'm holding all the cards, she says. He says, I went through most of Eva's life, not even know that that girl existed. He said, but now that I know her, now that I do, there is nothing that I won't do for her. And nothing that I won't do to protect my baby. He said, especially from you, you crazy bitch. She was like, that's exactly what I was hoping for, teddy bear. He turned around like he was like in the hood. He says, we may cross paths. There ain't nothing I can do about that. But you stay away from me and mine, or I'll swear to God, I'll make you wish you had, bitch. I added that extra. Ooh, she says, he leaves out the house. She says, oh, he turns around. That's Miss Bitch. He's like, you heard what I said. That was so good, that little scene. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch it twice. Okay, we're back at Anita and Tracy, and she's asking Anita, when did you win this Grammy? Is it one of those fake Grammys? Because that looks so pretty. So Tracy is hating on Anita. Leave Anita alone. Well, I don't want her to leave her alone, but girl, Anita will give you the sun. She wanted to be with y'all. Just be a friend, honey. So Anita was like, girl, I don't know when I won my first solo Grammy. I never keep track of dates and years and nothing like that. So Tracy was like, so you just collected all your many trophies, huh? You just collect these. Must be real nice being you, Tracy says to Anita. She's like, meanwhile, I was holding down the Blue Room Tuesday nights, 9 to midnight. Tips only. But you know what? They asked me every single time I got booked. She says, what? They asked her, when are you bringing Anita back? Like my ass wasn't enough on my own. Anita was like, I'm sure you blew them away. Tracy was like, damn right I did. Girl, I wasn't just sitting around painting my toenails and waiting for some nigga to come knock on my door. Anita was like, oh, no. I know you was out there doing it, honey, making it happen. Every dive bar, every cabaret club, every hotel lobby that needed a background music. But it was always the same story. Nobody wanted me without the great Anita Williams attached. Even when it was supposed to be about me, somehow, baby, it always circled back to you. Anita offers an apology and says, she knew it was tough. And Tracy was like, look, I know I had talent. I had drive, but what I didn't have was that special something that made Dante Green look at you and see dollar signs. Or maybe I was missing was your willingness to walk over anybody that got in your fucking way. Tracy was like, Anita was like, that is not what happened. And Tracy was like, isn't it? And Anita was like, I didn't walk all over you and Sharon. I made a decision to leave the group. It happens. I'm not the first artist who has done that. Tracy was like, oh, come on, Anita. Let's keep it 100. Yeah, you left, which was one thing. But the worst thing is that, girl, you left at the worst possible time. Right when we needed your ass the most. Baby, we see Leslie come back home, mad as hell. And guess what's sitting on the counter? Tide. Hey, Tide. Tide. In the bright, big red bottle with laundry sitting right there on the counter. Tide, we ain't seen you in a long time. We knew that product placement was coming soon. We saw the Febreze a little bit. I don't think we was paying attention to that. But Tide, she's sitting right there. Or is it he? No matter what. Hey, Tide. Then she walks up to the mirror and talks to herself. Look at you, girl. You're still fine as wine. That fool Ted wouldn't know what he has if it was right in front of him. You are a queen. That's what you are. A beautiful and powerful queen, honey. But what is it about me that draws him in? Is it you, Leslie? She pulls out some type of dress from the laundry basket. She's tripping out. Sweet little Leslie, so vulnerable and sweet. Or maybe it's you, Dana. Strong, demanding Dana. Little Anna with all her greens and secrets. Oh, Anna, which one of us does he desire? And which one of us would he choose, honey? She's like, wait a minute. She did her little twitchy with her hips. Oh, I know. She gonna try to be like Nicole. I feel it in my bones. We are back with Anita and Tracy. So Tracy offers an apology and she says, Girl, I'm sorry. I promised myself that I would not down those places with you. I promised myself that when I got on that damn train. So Anita was like, no, girl, no. You deserve answers. How can we move forward without at least attempting to at least clear the air? She says she felt like she was drowning. She said every morning she would wake up and she felt like the walls were just closing in on her. This is Anita. So Tracy was like, we were all hurting. And Anita was like, I know, but after what happened, I just couldn't face any of it. So she was like, every time I looked at you or Sharon, I just saw it. I saw. And you see the dot, dot, dot. So I'm like, what did you see, Anita? So Tracy was like, so you just ran, huh? Anita was like, girl, it might have looked that way, girl. Look, but I was barely holding on. The guilt. Look, work was my salvation. Work was something that I could control, something that would not remind me of what happened. So Anita takes a seat, and so Tracy goes over there and talks to her. She's like, look, we could have helped each other, girl. That's what sisters do. And Anita was like, I hear you, girl, but sometimes you have to save yourself before you can save anyone else. That's a word. Tracy says, I'm sorry, Anita. And she shakes her head. She says, but I'm not buying that shit. So we're back at Orphe Jeans, and so Smitty is looking over where Vanessa and Joy are still there. So he was like, y'all don't think that's strange that Vanessa is meeting here with Joy Armstrong? And Mark was like, that ain't nothing strange. I've seen them before at Uptown. That ain't nothing new. People know each other. He's like, maybe they go way back like old acquaintances or something. So the young ones, Samantha says, no cap. But the vibe that they're giving over there is like something like entirely different. They are just more than just old friends. I think they're fun. No, I'm just kidding. She was like, maybe they're trying to get more acquainted. In the mouth of babes, honey. In the mouth of babes. Martin's like, Samantha, your great grandpappy is sitting right here. Nah. And so Vernon was like, look, don't mind me now. Y'all been talking about this shit the whole time. Don't mind me. Vernon says, the old eyes may be tired, but they're not blind, baby. Vernon tells Samantha, I see exactly what you see. So Smitty was like, you really don't think that something's off? So Samantha helps them, bring them back in. She's like, should we look at the menu? I mean, the mac and cheese be bussin'. Yeah, maybe if we stop avoiding the obvious. And so Vernon was like, yes, Samantha's right. Let's order. And so Martin was like, I agree. So he was like, yes, let's go ahead and enjoy our lunch and leave the work at home, because some of us keeps wanting to turn a regular everyday situation into a federal investigation. Smitty. Yes, I can see why Martin don't want Smitty, because Smitty, everything is suspicious to him. You just can't be having lunch with people without him like, you don't think that's strange? Why is that? Oh, he's an extra nosy. So we get back to Vanessa and Joy. She's like, seems like you take up everyone's attention when you come in a room. He's like, well, the only thing that has my attention are these Tetons right here in front of my face. No, he said, the only person that has my attention is the person that's sitting right in front of me. So she mentions Doug, talking about how he's been going through it lately, and he claims that he understands, and he tells her to go ahead on, go girl, go handle your business. He's like, if that's what you really want. She's like, actually, it's not what I want. She says, I really don't want to go after Doug, but maybe I should. So she gets up and leaves. And so Smitty was like, it's interesting how long they were sitting here together. Girl, eat your food, Smitty. Stop being nosy. Everybody's sitting there having a good time. So he was like, should someone send a flare up to Nicole? Too late, honey. Nicole already knows about that. Martin was like, that her best friend just had a business lunch? So Mark was like, not everything is a CSI episode, Smitty. And Verna was like, yeah, I mean, Nicole does have a lot on her plate right now. I mean, duh. So Martin was like, some folks need to let sleeping dogs lie. And then Smitty was like, and some folks need to be honest when something isn't right. Y'all gonna fuss right there? Then Samantha again saves the day. Tyrell has a girlfriend. Well, not an actual girlfriend. I mean, but him and Jessica are really getting close. So he was like, well, I guess, Vernon was like, I guess that means that there's celebrations all around. Anita, she's with Tracy as we speak. So Mark was like, with the articulates, and Smitty was like, I thought there was bad blood between all of them. So Vernon was like, oh, yeah, well, good thing. Time heals all, right? So we back to Tracy and Anita. So Tracy was like, you expect for me to believe that you were some wounded bird who had to fly away on a broken wing? So Anita was like, well, girl, I wouldn't exactly put it like that, girl, but there is some truth there. Tracy was like, okay, all right, I'll give you that. But we both know there's another side. You didn't make it, girl, because you worked harder, Anita. You made it because you were willing to do what the rest of us couldn't. Anita was like, which was what? And so Tracy was like, be ruthless. All that damn talk about drowning. Girl, please. You saw a chance and you took it. We looked up, baby, and your ass was gone. It didn't even matter who you had to walk over. Anita was like, now that's not fair. So Tracy was like, isn't it? The minute that sneaky ass Dante Green talked to you about being a solo act, your ass was gone. Anita was like, look, girl, I tried to explain. Tracy, girl, you explained nothing. You were too busy trying to reinvent yourself to give a damn about what you left behind. Admit it, Anita. You threw us away. We're back at the hospital and we see Shanice calling Ted, right? So I was like, does he know his new name? Because she said Dr. Richardson. So he was walking in the background. She said, Dr. Richardson. I'm like, do you know your new character name, bro? It was Ted. Keith. He's like, oh, my bad, Shanice. I guess he was real pissed from the conversation that he had with Leslie, Dana, Laura, Anna, all of them. And so he was mad and pissed. So I was like, man, did you know what your character is? Ted Theodore Richardson, boo. He's like, I was just in my head. So Shanice was like, I hope some of that headspace was because of Andre's documentary. Everybody's been asking about it nonstop. So we're ready to see it. When is it coming out? So he says that Andre's doing some post-production work on it right now. It's coming together beautifully. When it's ready, they're going to do a screening. She said, good, because everybody wants to know who's in it and who was the one who acted like that they came off as knowledgeable or clueless. Because, when she did it, y'all, she was very, very nervous. She couldn't think of her name. She couldn't think of what to say. And then Andre did something else and she was able to get her guards down and really talk. So yeah, she was really nervous when she did this. And I love this picture of her. And I'm going to use this as my... I like to use very uncomfortable, weird looking poses for my YouTube cover, the YouTube cover. So this picture, her facial expression is real weird. So I'm going to use that. BRB. So Ted was like, people like you perhaps? And she's like, oh no, honey, I know I look good. So he's just smiling like, you want to know. She's like, okay, doc, okay. I'm just really curious about how did I look? I mean, and more important, how did I sound? He was like the beautiful, knowledgeable, skilled nurse supervisor you are. He said, the video will definitely prove what we all already know about you, girl. We're so lucky to have you, Shanice. All right now, Nicole, you better get it together. She was like, no money. No wonder all those women spend all that money on you fixing their faces. She says, you are a charmer, Dr. Richardson. And he is. He really is. He really, really is. Girl, so Vanessa comes there at the hospital, coming off the elevator. The cheater herself talking about, well, if it isn't the man himself, she ran into pretty much Ted as he was getting on the elevator. She was getting off. I know your ass ain't about to judge Ted when that's all you did all throughout your marriage. I know you ain't finna do that. So he was like, Vanessa. She was like, you son piece of work, aren't you? And you see Shanice looking in the background like she always do. Walking around here like everything's so sweet. That's what Vanessa tells Ted. And then Vanessa tells Ted Richardson, you are one clueless son of a bitch. We've heard bitch 3 times today. Yay! Girl, this Leslie. This crazy bitch got a hairstyle like Nicole. Good afternoon. She says, good afternoon. I'm Dr. Richardson. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Richardson. She's trying to mock Nicole. She's trying to be Nicole so she can get Ted. Girl, oh, it's more than just a wig and a white coat, honey. You are not the complexion. You are not the heart and the mind of the soul and the ambition and the degrees of Nicole. Oh my God. But yet she always wanted to think that Ted wants her. Oh, he got all this, honey. All of this butter and sugar and brown sugar on here. Oh, he can't do. But now you're trying to be Nicole. Girl, you are never comfortable with yourself. Dr. Nicole Richardson, chief psychiatrist, tries to sound so demure and very professional. Girl, you got too much ghetto on you. She's I mentioned that right before I push play. She's like anyone was mentioning all those damn credentials, like you just like to just keep throwing up in people's faces. Nicole don't do that. You're doing that. You're throwing her credentials all in your face. Nicole does not do that. And then she started mocking. I am Dr. Richardson. I'm the chief of everything. What happened to Dana for her to be so mental? What happened? And I'm Ted's wife. She's like, oh God, she is as dry as day old cornbread. So she looks at the mirror and was like, so this is what gets you all hot and bothered, Teddy. All that boozy, bougie, and prissy, and proper and professional perfection. Oh, Ted, I would like to examine your whole entire existence. She has really lost her mind. Therapy this, cognitive that. Psychobabble, psychobabble, psychobabble. Oh, Lord. She's like, oh gosh, let's review your options, Ted. You can either keep playing house with boring, predictable Nikki number 1, or you can break off a piece of Nicole 2.0. New and improved and delicious. This crazy heifer, after she says delicious, she looks in the camera at us, honey. And I caught that picture. I had to take that one. Vanessa, with her self-righteous self, tells him that she wished that she was there that night so she can lay into Ted's ass in front of all of Nicole's family and friends because she's so pissed at what he did. Ted was like, look, you got the floor, girl. What you got to say? Oh, the great Dr. Richardson, the perfect husband, pillar of the community. Everybody has said that to him. The same words, Vanessa. You late. You girl, you're tardy for the party. Do you know how many times I've listened to Nicole sing your damn praises? She never once doubted your ass. Never once questioned. Meanwhile, you were out there with that Dana woman or Leslie, whatever she calls herself. So Ted cuts her off like, wait a minute. If you're going to take me to task, I need for you to get your fucking facts straight. What Dana and I had, HAD, was not ongoing. And what we did when we hooked up, that was a long time ago. When Nicole and I were having problems. Not like your monkey ass out here fucking around on your husband currently. No, he didn't say that. But that's what I'm telling her. She got a nerve to talk about, does he know what loyalty means? Spit in her face, Ted. She wants to break down about how like Nicole took care of him. She chose him, loved him. She chose... Girl. And Ted was like, you don't think I damn know that? You don't think I wake up every morning knowing exactly what I did? Then she tells him shame is the least that he should be feeling. She says what keeps her up at night is how he could choose to throw it all away to what he had with Nicole. I hope Dougie comes in there and hears her talking to him like that. And he lets her have it in front of all of them. Oh, come on, Dougie. If you don't make me happy, do it this time. Because she need to be pulled back off of Ted. He says, Ted was like, if I could take it all back. Look, I don't need you to tell me about Nicole's worth. I see that shit in every moment, and I see it in every corner of my life. My wife loved me deeply and she trusted me completely. She gave me her loyalty without hesitation. I used to see that shit reflected in her eyes. The love, the belief, the pride, but now she looks at me like I'm a piece of shit, which causes like the pain caused her, the hurt, all of that. I see that in her eyes now. He knows that there's some wounds that cannot be healed and some sins that just cannot be undone. And he lives with that truth each and every damn day. So if it makes you feel good, Vanessa, if it gives any comfort to you, I will never forgive myself. And she's standing there with a tear in her eye. That tear ain't got nothing to do with Nicole. It has everything to do with her being unhappy in her own marriage with Doug. That's what that's about. Yeah, I think she feels a little sorry what Nicole went through because Nicole was very, committed to her marriage day in, day out. But she also is feeling, like I said, two things can be true at the same time. She's feeling a lot of guilt as well, too. Girl, that tear, dry that tear. It's only one. So he leaves and gets on the elevator. So she tries to clear up her tears. And she goes to the nurse's desk. Oh, hey there, Shanice. You know Shanice is always listening in the background. So Shanice was like, hey, boo. That's mine. Hey, boo. So, so Vanessa was like, you must be looking down, girl, because that's the only time that you use that comforting nurse tone with me. So Shanice tells her, like, girl, I'm here for whatever you need. Is everything okay with you and Dr. Richardson? So she asks, excuse me. So she asked him, is Douglas around? He was like, earlier he was looking for your ass. Y'all didn't cross paths. She's like, oh yeah, we must have missed each other. So she calls him and it goes straight to voicemail. She's looking concerned. Doug has already told you that he ain't fucking around on you. So chill with that. So we're back at Orphe Jeans, and Smitty is really trying to talk with Martin about something. It's like, is it that important? So they're about to leave. They're all about to ride out together. So Smitty says, Samantha, can you just use your Uber card and you and your granddaddy can ride back together because your father and I need to talk about some stuff. So Vernon was like, okay, yeah, I can finish telling you about my stories in the car. He was like, because some conversations just can't wait. And they look at Smitty like he crazy. He said, yeah, I need to grab Anita and Tracy some food, take out, get them some good old soul food, take them back to their Chicago roots, give them some good soul food for the soul, because I think they need it right now, Vernon. Ooh. So they leave, they give Samantha a hug, they leave, and so Smitty was like, look, we need to talk, and this time your ass is going to listen. So we go back to Anita and Tracy. So Anita was like, you want the truth? Fine. Maybe I was ruthless. Maybe I was tired of making decisions by committee. Maybe I just wanted something that was only mine. So Tracy cut her off, said, there she is, right there. The real Anita Williams. So Anita was like, yeah, that's me. The little girl from Cabrini Green who swore when she grew up she was going to be somebody. And she damn did it. And I will not apologize for that. And you really don't think I know what they said about me back then? Poor Tracy, poor Sharon, left behind by the selfish, ruthless Anita Williams. Tracy says, we had talent, and we were willing to work just as hard as you did. She says, even harder, given the fact that we didn't have the advantages like you did. So Anita was like, girl, the music business is real tough, Tracy. She said, I'm sorry that it didn't work out for you and Sharon, but honey, I was not going to let that hold me back. I wasn't going to let nothing or nobody or anything hold me back. So Tracy was like, no matter what the cost, huh? And Anita was like, if that's what it's going to take, yeah. I was desperate to erase any trace of that place. You better drop that bar, Anita. Every memory and every reminder that I was a nobody. So you're right. It didn't matter what or who I had to sacrifice. And I am so sorry that it had to be that way. That you and Sharon became collateral damage. So Tracy says, but it wasn't just Sharon and me. Now was it? And that's the end of episode number 59. And it was dope. That was a great episode. I'm looking at what's going to happen on next week's show. I won't even drop those teas. I'll let you watch it yourself. But that was really good. Everything was good. We didn't have to deal with Ashley and Derek today. It was good. Tell me what you think. Tell me what your thoughts are. I cannot wait to see who Sharon is going to be. I've been stalking the Googleations every day to find out who they cast as Sharon, but they keeping that under the hush. Because Tracy, look, we're February, March, April, May. 90 days, almost 90 days into this journey. We just meeting Tracy. So It might be like September sweeps before we meet Sharon. We might have to go through the summer because they just got a renewal. We might not meet Sharon until almost the second season when they start recording for the second season. So I'm excited. And what the fuck does Smitty have to talk to Martin about? What is it so important? Ooh, that was so good. And Leslie, Nicole 2.0, girl, that was so funny. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Thank you already for the likes, and thank you for coming by, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. We have so much fun over here. I do the voices, I do the icks, I do the cussings, I do all of that. I add my little commentary, my recaps, even the commercials, even have Tide in there. I do whatever I can to make this a fun place, to take you away from all the mess that's happening in the world, and you listen to my voice and have some fun and even giggle and cackle a little bit while you're in your bed, while you're in your car, while you're in your shower. Yes, I put my headphones while I'm listening to stuff in the shower. Wherever you are in this world, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Hopefully I bring a little sparkle to your day. This is your Aunty, Shar, the recap Aunty, and y'all have a blessed, safe Memorial weekend. I'm not too sure if we have a show on Monday, but if not, I will see y'all on Tuesday. Y'all be safe. Bye.